You're starting the new year right. You're switching your eating habits, trying to eat healthier. But now you're worried about the extra expense. How are you supposed to eat healthy, lose weight, get healthy, and not go broke? Well, listen in. Are you struggling to keep your head above water and brushing aside how you physically feel? You know you need to do something to feel better, but what? Nothing's working, and you're about to give up. I hear ya. I'm Jolene, a nutritional therapy practitioner, a wife, and a furry guardian. Like you, I let my work and everything else get in the way of health, often chasing skinny instead of health until I learned how the body worked. Welcome to Holistic Health Made Simple, where I share all the tips, tricks, and science to set you free from the overwhelm of diet culture and frustration with the ever-changing health rules, going beyond the calorie and diet dogma to equip you to be healthy through simple changes to food, mindset, and lifestyle. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and learn how to feel better with changes that work for you, results that are undeniable like more energy, improved mood, better sleep, and fat loss, this is the podcast for you. Pop in those headphones, take a deep breath, and let's get healthy. Hey there. I was wandering around the market picking up a few things we needed, and I remembered how overwhelming it was to make that switch to healthier foods, especially on a tight budget. And in today's world, that tight budget doesn't go as far. I mean, if you're going into a healthy, natural type food store, or you're going down the health food aisle in the market, you're probably sticker shocked. The prices are double or more of a similar non-healthy item. So how are we to lose this weight and get healthy at the same time and stick to our budget? It's kind of overwhelming. I can see how some of you would just say, forget it. It's not worth it. I got to stick to the budget and feed my family. Now, I could go down the rabbit hole and tell you that the junk food is cheaper by design because one, keeps you addicted to it and buying more. It keeps you unhealthy and needing doctor's cares. But we will stick to how you can actually eat healthy and not break the bank. Your entire family deserves to eat healthy and not break the bank. So let's start by first and foremost staying out of the packaged food aisles. The only thing you need from the middle of the store is maybe spices, oils, paper goods, coffee, and teas. Occasionally, you might need some canned veggies or tomato sauce, but for the most part, you aren't going to be buying ready-made foods and snacks for daily consumption. Maybe as a treat here and there, but not for daily consumption. When I personally shop, I spend the majority of my time on the perimeter of the store. I know you've heard this before. Produce, meat, and dairy all usually are on the outer aisles or around the outside of the store. Occasionally you'll venture into the middle for some frozen meats. Maybe they keep the cheese down there. You never know. But for the most part, you're going to stick to the outside of the store. And when we make the shift to a whole foods diet that prioritizes protein, you will find that you are not eating all of those packaged snacks, so that in itself saves you money. Not buying all this extra stuff to fill in because you're hungry between the meals saves you money right there. Now, let's look at the basics of saving money at the grocery store. We'll go category by category. First up is produce. Buy your produce in season. That means look at your weather, what normally grows that time of year, and eat that. There will be more of it, and it will be local, so it will be less expensive. We want to stay away from all the fruits and vegetables that are flown in from across the world because those will be more expensive on off season. I mean, if you're buying pineapple in the dead of winter in the middle of America, that's going to be really expensive, and it probably won't even be that good. So try to buy things in season. For me personally, there are a few non-negotiables when it comes to produce. I will only buy organic berries because of the different pesticides that are used on organic versus non-organic. Yes, even organic produce has pesticides, but I chose organic because it's the lesser of the two evils. My second non-negotiable in the produce category is I will not buy it at stores that use the coating Apeel. Apeel is a new coating, and it's synthetic, going on some produce to make it last longer. It will go on both organic and regular produce at the moment. There's no labeling required, and it's really hard to get any information on it. So that makes me suspect of what is really in it. The suppliers do have to disclose to the stores if it's on there or not, but after that, we don't get to know unless we ask. At the moment, there is only really a handful of stores that are refusing to carry produce with that coating on it. And if you would like my cheat sheet, shoot me an email at info@holistichealthmadesimple.com and I will send it to you. Apeel at the moment is generally regarded as safe by the FDA, yet we cannot find out exactly what's in it. We are not being told what it's on, so that just leaves me a little suspect until there's more information because it's brand new. Remember, asbestos was safe, smoking was safe, and until we know more, the jury's out according to me, and I will just avoid it. You make the best choice for you and your families. Next up is meat and fish. I will use the term meat interchangeably for anything that is an animal protein. So please don't come back to me and ask me about fish. When I talk about meat, I'm talking about both. Buy it on sale and buy the best quality that fits in your budget. There is a lot of information out there telling you to only eat certain types of meat that's raised a certain way, that's fed a certain way. Could there be health benefits? Sure. But right now, the science is saying that the nutritional differences are negligible. And that even goes for produce, organic versus non-organic. So if the science is telling us that the nutritional information is negligible, you just need to make the best choice that fits in your budget, because eating real foods is better than eating those junk foods. Just trust me, it's going to be better for your waistline and your overall health. Eggs are not dairy. They're technically not a meat either, but they kind of fit in the middle. It is an animal protein. Buy the best you can afford. Don't worry about how they were necessarily raised unless you can bump it up. Eggs are an inexpensive way to get extra protein in, so don't shy away from them. Dairy. It's the same as meat. Buy it on sale. Stock up, especially on cheeses when they're on sale. Buy the best quality that you can fit in your budget and what's your preference. There's certain things that are non-negotiable for me. I use real cream in my coffee. I do not tolerate the thickeners when they ultra pasteurize the cream. So I actually have to go organic, read the back. The only ingredients on the cream I personally buy is salt and cream. I think it's only cream. It may not have salt. I can't remember. But it's because that's what my body tolerates and I use so little of it. When it comes to butter, we only buy in my household the grass-fed butter. That is because I am getting extra nutrition in it that way with the D and the A, and that's very important to me. And if I go to Costco, I can swing it into our budget. We don't use an abundance. It's not like I'm using 2 pounds of butter a day. We can squeeze that in. So when you're looking at your budget, see where you can make a little splurge to get a little bit more nutrition in and where you don't. And again, when it's on sale, butter freezes. Freeze it, buy it. Buy as many as you can in that time period and stick it in the freezer. It'll last years in the freezer. Butter does not go bad. It is a fat. I know I said nutritionally that there is only a negligible difference between organic and non-organic, grass-fed versus not grass-fed. However, when it comes to butter, since it is just the fat, grass-fed will have a different omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. That is why that is one thing that's a non-negotiable. I prefer to only use grass-fed butter. Again, if it fits in your budget, go for the grass-fed. Buy it on sale, stick it in the freezer. It'll last years in the freezer. So don't worry about your butter in the freezer. It will not go bad. Shopping healthy on a budget requires a little effort. You're going to make sure that you read through those weekly ads that get put in your mailbox. Now, if you don't get them in your mailbox, pick the 3 local stores to you or 4, whichever you have, and go online and look at their sales. You're going to plan your weekly shopping at the store that has the most of what you need on sale. Now, this differs a bit from what other people tell you because I believe that your time is valuable and so is gas. I don't want you driving from store to store to store just to pick things up on sale. That actually doesn't always save you money. If you have 2 to 3 stores within the same mile to 2 miles, and you can hit a couple stores, especially if meat's on sale at one and everything else is on sale at another, do that. But figure out what fits in your schedule and what fits in your budget and do it that way. Also remember, those big box bulk stores like Costco and Sam's Club are great as long as you know what the prices are at your local stores. Sometimes it's not a savings unless that there's enough on sale there that it's not worthwhile to go for the one or two things that are not on sale, like that are a little bit more than your grocery store. So you're gonna have to do some planning, especially if you're on a budget. Now, I'm not the best at teaching budgets, but I know healthy, we budget our calories, we budget our macros, we budget our micronutrients in our food. We've got to budget that dollar too. It all goes hand in hand. So let's take this year and start doing the best for us so that we don't have stress on any level when it comes to eating and affording our food. Now back to ads and sales. Meat is probably the most important thing to be paying attention to. Look what's on sale for that week. And if you can afford extra, pick up extra. Seal it well and freeze it for a later date. Having a freezer stocked with meat and some batch cooked meals, those two things alone help you save a ton of money when it comes to eating healthy. Another thing I didn't touch on when it comes to produce, look at the ads for frozen vegetables that might be on sale as well. They are really nutritious and they stack in your freezer. It may be time to invest in an extra freezer to save money over the long term. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when you spend a few $100s on a freezer, you could probably buy one used, and you start filling it up week by week with a little bit at a time, you have months worth of food there that if push comes to shove and something breaks in your house and you need to save some money, you've got everything you need right there in the freezer for healthy meals for you and your entire family. So going back to freezing, if you have leftovers that is enough for a complete meal that you're not going to eat in a few days, freeze it so it doesn't go bad. Freeze it in an individual packet, either in some kind of container. I prefer glass, but do whatever you can. Vacuum seal it. I don't care. Seal it up so it doesn't get the air. Stick it in the freezer for one of those days where maybe you're home alone and you need a meal quickly. When you have meals in the freezer, it stops you from doing that quick drive-through run. That's why it's so important. When stocking extra meat in the freezer, it's wise to portion it into single or double servings. I don't care if there's 4 people in your family. Package it individually or for 2. You can pull out as much as you need at that point, but then let's say that your kids aren't home and it's just you and your husband, or it's you and your daughter, whatever it is, you can pull out just what you need rather than pulling out enough for 6 people and there's only 2 of you home that night. Besides freezing, you need to learn how to extend the life of your produce. There are lots of hacks out there. Some work and some don't, and you're gonna have to try them because I personally think it all has to do with the moisture content of your refrigerator. I personally will clean my lettuce, I dry it well, I put it pack it tightly in a pint mason jar with a piece of paper towel. And I found that lasts for a few weeks, but the pint jar is the perfect amount of salad for a single person as a meal or for 2 people as like a starter salad, and it's only the lettuce in there. Air and moisture are the issues with lettuces, so we want to keep them dry and not a lot of air. Berries. I personally have tried that vinegar water solution and then sticking it in a mason jar, and it really did extend the life of the berries. So try that. You can go on YouTube, Google, whatever. You can find all these hacks. When I get nuts and seeds, I try to buy them in bulk because they're a lot cheaper. Like I said, we're not going to snack on a lot of stuff when we go to Whole Foods, but nuts and seeds are good to have in your salads or as an in-between snack. But I put them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag and they last forever. They don't go bad. The main thing that saves in the long run is eating more at home and more home-cooked foods. So when we're eating at home, we're not eating processed food or takeout. I know there is a convenience of eating out, but honestly, with some basic meal prep, eating the majority of your meals at home saves you a ton of money. And if you notice, I did not say all of your meals. I said just most of them. The last thing, and I'm only going to touch on this, if you are truly trying to get healthy on a budget, stay far, far, far away from all of those buy my protein shake, buy my meals diets. They're very costly, they're very expensive, and you still have to buy your own groceries to go along with it. Let's just start with real food in an affordable manner. That will get you there. Trust me. I've been there. I've done that. I've tried everything. Getting healthy requires some changes in your life. Just take it slow. Grab a cookbook if you're new to cooking at home, and then just experiment. Find foods that you and your family enjoy. Eating healthy food at home will shrink your waistline, but not your wallet. And on that note, friends, I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening in today. I hope you got some nuggets to take on your health journey. Remember, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes. No medical advice is being given. By listening to this podcast, you agree to the full disclaimer, which is linked in the show notes. If you found this podcast helpful, could you take 30 seconds and leave a review? Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps others discover my show. Once again, thank you for being part of my community. Until next time, have a blessed day.